Today on Satya's classes, I want to discuss the importance of sports, and especially on National Sports Day. The education system's core objective is to ensure that kids learn value systems like honesty, hard work, teamwork, leadership, something that will help them in the future in their lives. And unfortunately, sine theta, cos theta, binomial theorem, present continuous tense will not teach you these values. The only subject that can teach you all these values put together is sports. And unfortunately, the sports period today is just that one period in many schools in the country. And I suffered it in my schooling days. For most of us, sports period was like that period where you could actually eat 20% of your dabba before interval. And the teacher who was lowest in the value chain, he became the sports teacher. I mean, if Malaika Arora and Milind Soman were your sports teacher, then you would be inspired to win a gold medal. But it was not treated with respect. And for the sports teacher, allowing students to play dodgeball for 45 minutes was his idea of what a sports period should be. And my theory is that 50% of your education curriculum actually should be sports only, because rest of the stuff anyway can be Googled. There are two things I learned from sports. One, most important, is I learned how to deal with rejection. Today, many of us are suffering from mental health conditions, and somewhere rejection plays a very critical role to actually trigger this condition. And I've seen that in school. I was a very ordinary player. I got rejected because most of the times I would score 10, 12, 15. And I learned to deal with it because I could convince the teams to take me for other reasons. I could find a way out to deal with that rejection. And I think that's very, very critical. Sports teaches you how to deal with failure. As the great Michael Jordan says that I am successful only because I failed a million times. And I think that philosophy, once it gets ingrained, even today I'm single, I get rejected all the time, but I don't feel it at all. The second most important thing that schools need to teach is how do you work in groups? How do you deal with people's emotions? How do you take a back seat when it is required? How do you take leadership position when it is required? So all these lessons you have to imbibe in your system so that you can deal with it in your corporate life, in your social life, or whatever. Unfortunately, this can't be taught by regular subjects. Sports teaches you all of this. You learn to deal in a group, you push each other, and that's why once you're conditioned to all these processes and routines, most sports people say that process is very important. When you're batting, even under 15, your coach will tell you these are the 10 things you need to do. You need to tick these boxes. You need to do this checklist. All your life you will be ticking checklists. But once you know it how to do in sports, you can do it better once you're a manager in a big corporation. Last but not least, we talk about the sporting culture. When 10 million people play sports, then you will win 10 medals. Unfortunately, in India, 10 people play sport, and then we hope that one person wins a medal, which, if it happens, is a miracle. On National Sports Day, I would just like to request all educational institutions and parents that you also start playing with your kids. Keeping in mind we are the diabetic capital of the world, maybe it will help you as well.